This is Michael W. Ford. Thank you for watching this video today. I'm going to give a brief, simplistic outline for the practice of candle magic, a candle spell, in the easiest way you possibly can, as well as the basic outline for how not sorcery or witchcraft works. Now, let me say first that not magic goes all the way back to ancient Babylonia, Mesopotamia, and was known through the Sumerian, Neo-Assyrian, Babylonian traditions and time periods. And that's from roughly the Bronze Age into the Iron Age, prior to the Hellenistic period. And what is really fascinating about using knots in magic is that you can use them for a wide variety of practices, of types of spells, but they are binding and they are focusing types of energy within your subconscious, your will, into that of the object, which is a type of connection magic relating to the astral. Now, what I have done in the past with any kind of invocation or spell is, let's take Sabeti, for example. One of the old invocations of, and we know this from the exorcism rites of the Kasapu, which is the warlock or witch, there are numerous counterspells against the Kasapu, the demonic sorcerer, the witch, who is controlling demons, astral projecting by dreams and by storm, by clouds, by mist, but also using candle figures or types of molded clay statues and knots to cast spells on people. In this, all of these Malqu or burning incantation texts, which they have tons of them, from the Neo-Assyrian period, that really go into depth. And you can learn about how to approach this from a Luciferian perspective, which is the basis of Sabeti and Mascom Hole, is to understanding the shadow, the Kasapu, the ancient witch, the warlock of that time, who can, in a modern sense, in a Luciferian sense, both heal, focus on beneficial workings depending on your predilection, your whatever you need it for, but also in draining and sending forth spirits and projection forms by night. The common rule in any type of sorcery, like involving knots, is that as you make the knot, you recite something that has meaning, something very simple that you can lose yourself in those moments. And this is a part of how this works. I'm going to get back to the knots in a minute, but I want to show you, for instance, candle magic. You would pick a color based on the attributes. So we could say the sun in this instance. And with it relating to the sun and possibly to the element of fire, we would attribute this candle to, if we're using Sabeti, to the sun god Shamash. You can write on a candle the name of the deity. And the purpose for that is simplicity and focus, but also in naming and commanding as you do this. And what would be attributes for a yellow candle relating to the sun that would pertain to some type of success in your life. So it could be a focus on establishing better consistency in your daily life. So focus on consistency, and you could write consistency or make a sigil that represents that. And then drawing the solar sign of the circle with the point in the middle in the candle. Now, in preparing these candles, you can go as elaborate or as simple as you wish. And how this works is once it is your sigils and your naming and commanding is done by inscribing the candle, you have prepared it. You can anoint it with oil relating to the sun or the type of working you're doing. And placing it in a candle holder, you light it and you perform an invocation to Shamash, or if you're using fallen angels, Samspiel, the solar associated fallen angel, the Watcher. And that would be relating to justice, but also victory, success in specific areas of your daily life. That could be in a public way, that could be in something that you're held to account to. And if you're using, let's say, a black candle, and for instance, we're going to put the symbol of the black flame, which in Sabeti, in the old Mesopotamian, Akkadian, Assyrian tongue, it's Malamu. And that's generally bestowed by, firstly, Tiamat, but later on Nergal, the lord of the underworld and war. So you would inscribe your candle, and black flame represents what? Consciousness, divine consciousness, the daemon. It's intuition, instinctual insight, strong will, a discipline, a understanding that you're forging your path in this great vast abyss, and you're shaping it and using your inner fire, your manifestation of the black flame to create a course in life. It won't be perfect. You will have errors, you will have mistakes, you will have accidents, misfortunes, but you will have success and power if you are consistent and apply Luciferian philosophy in a daily, continual practice. Now, what happens, and this is, I don't want to get sidetracked here, but what happens once you start to build momentum and you have success? A lot of people start over time kind of lose interest in the consistent initiatory practice. That's fine. That's to be expected. You're going to have time periods to where by need, circumstance, or just your fascination, you're focused on something else. But if you establish basic applications of Luciferian philosophy, that inner black alchemy, that transformation towards apotheosis, and you have a basic framework of how you practice magic and understanding how your will is designed and the daemon, this can almost be a unconscious or subconscious kind of motor skill that you continue to practice, even if you're not entirely in the moment obsessively poring over it. So to keep that in mind, that doesn't mean that you're weak or you've fallen off the path and you're not worthy or whatever things that you could possibly tell yourself. To understand balance and consistency is the key to magic. So with a candle of, say, black flame, the mantle of radiance, you could inscribe the symbol for Malamu. And upon the black candle, daemon. If you have a name for your daemon, and I don't mean another deity's name, The name for a daemon comes over time, and some might not even have that kind of idealized concept. It could just be an instinctual force within. You can write the name of that, a sigil that you've integrated in your practice. Here we'll write Kispu, which is Babylonian and Sumerian, representing sorcery. So this, in inscribing candles in this way, you are announcing the intent. Now, there could be a clearer intent of, let's say it could be, if you look at Sabeti on page 138 of the hardcover, you could have a Kishbu spell called an evil spell. It's contrary. It works with the demonic aspects. It could be love. You could type in or inscribe here for self-love, for your self-esteem, but also a deep relationship. You could put elements of the cuneiform on the candle to slaughter or to destroy an enemy. You could inscribe that. To bless, to heal, you could put the cuneiform for that. You could also write a deity's name, which would be Nergal in this instance, who is the bestower of Malamu, or also the Sabeti, which are the seven. Now, in this type of formalization of casting, you would then perform a ceremony invoking Nergal or something of your own creation, say from fallen angels, from Sabeti, dragon of the two flames, and it would be focused towards that, and it would be simple, and you would invoke and focus on the burning of the candle. It could be something you do in one evening. It could be something you do over a period of days if you're using larger candles. But after you're done, once you invoke and you ignite that, this is where the cord could come in. Now, there's a methodology to attain victory or success, and it's a cuneiform. It's Una Gerb, and it means attain victory against your enemy. And in Sabeti, Kispudur, which is the sorcery of knots, can be used to connect astrally to another, but also to empower that invocation that you're practicing. Now, traditionally it's 6 or 7 knots in a cord tie. So you could do, let's say, 6 knots. These would be to enhance the black flame, and you would recite the invocation while you're doing these, and you could focus on them, have just a few words, and you recite them in a way that invokes the Sabeti, Sabeti Rai, Sabeti Ka, Udakur, 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 Utoku, 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 Power, Demon. And in this process, when you're done, and you'll build it up in the type of energy you're doing, you can wrap this around the burnt aspect of the candle until wax seals it. And then at the completion of this working, you would take it and bury it in some place, a grove or some place on your property, or a place where you would feel comfortable with it being. Now, if you feel that you have to get negative energy from you to cast it off, instead of, if you're not focused on devouring the energy and transforming it, remember quantum physics, transforming energy, it doesn't die, or it's only changed, then you could take a cord and tie 7 times to banish the spell, to in fact to destroy the ties that were binding you. This type of practice is very successful, but when you're doing these things, you have to have a basic plan and throw yourself into it and do it. And if you fail, if you make a mistake, who cares? It's about the energy, the focus, and the will, desire, belief. So, with that said, I hope that those actually practicing a form of sorcery or kasapu or witchcraft utilize some of these areas and going off your own intuition, record and write what happens during these activities. I think you'll find a surprising connection to the ancient world and the various pantheons of spirits and energies beyond the scene and even beyond our cosmos. Thank you for watching. If this was useful, subscribe, pass on this channel, and thank you once again. Banama Araman.